Welcome to the Proven Podcast, where it does not matter what you think, only what you can prove. Everyone says getting business funding takes months of paperwork and perfect credit. Herman Dolce Jr. proves that's the slow lane to success. The founder of Bella Sloan Enterprises has cracked the code on strategic credit stacking and financial literacy that generates six-figure business funding in weeks, not years. The show starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm excited to talk to Herman. Herman, you've done an immense amount of things. You go by the Haitian CEO. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Charles, for having me and trusting me on your platform. I'm here to serve today.
I love it. Tell people who you are, because a lot of people may have lived under a rock or have been distracted with the news lately. Won't get into that.
Right.
But tell people who you are, what your success is, and I'd love for you to sneak in why your entire background, for those of you watching on YouTube, why his background says what it says. I love the story behind it. It makes my heart blow up.
So my name is Herman Dolce Jr., son of Herman Dolce. I am a first generation Haitian. My family came to this country in the late 70s. Born in Brooklyn, Philly raised me, and I'm the founder of this wonderful company called Bella Sloan Enterprises, financial literacy company first, but we primarily like to help small, medium businesses get capital and get some funding. I named this company after my firstborn daughter, Bella Sloan Dolce. Amazing. She's 7 years old right now. And you can find me on Instagram as Haitian CEO. And the reason why I say that is because I have two personalities. There's Herman, and then there's Haitian CEO. Haitian CEO dances on Instagram, and that's what my daughter is. She's a ball and a light, and she's totally amazing.
I love that you named it after her. When you told me that, I was like, yes, we have to sneak that in. We have to
Have
sneak
to,
it in.
yeah.
The other thing we have to sneak in is when people do this and they want to get funding, there's a lot of questions that I always get asked.
Mhm,
And they're like, how much should I have? How much should I do? And we were talking about this before we went on camera, things like
mhm.
a wealth ratio. And
Right.
if
Mhm.
people don't know what a wealth ratio is, could you explain to someone what a wealth ratio is?
Well, what a wealth ratio is let's say for me, when I wanted to quit my job and go full time in my business, and you said it offline, having 6 months of I guess bills saved up is a good place to start. Having a year of operating expenses for your business. But for me, when I was taking phone calls in my broom closet at work, I saved up 2 years
Yeah.
of income for my household to make sure that if I didn't make any money from Bella Sloan Enterprises for 2 years, I would have that money to at least pay my bills. So I had a pretty decent FU account before I
Mhm.
told my boss I quit.
Yeah. So I love that you snuck in what we actually call it offline. It's the FU account.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
be honest here. So for those
Right.
of you at home who want to calculate your wealth ratio, it's really simple. Let's say your monthly expenses are $5 and you've got $10 in the bank. You've got a 2-month wealth ratio. Really, really
Mhm.
simple. It's really, it goes through that. And I agree with you. I think for your personal life and your professional life, you need to have at least 2 years for your personal life and then hopefully at least a year in your business life. If you don't
Yeah.
have that, don't quit your job. Just it is
Quit
what
your
it is.
job.
It just
Right.
you gotta mind your job while you're building your business. You know,
Exactly.
I built my first company while I was still working at a hospice. I was running the IT division. That in order to
Mhm.
build it, and I did it at the same time because sleep is optional. It happens. Dang it. As you get more successful, you will get sleep, because it's
Mhm.
a new thing for me. You
Mhm.
also will also have stories where you lose your first million. So welcome to all of those wonderful
Oh,
adventures.
yeah.
We
Yes,
all have
yes.
those stories where we lost it.
Exactly. I have a good friend of mine named Storm Leroy, and he's called the Unemployed Millionaire, and he says your job should be your first business partner. So after you pay all your bills and you have your savings, you take that savings and you use that to fund your business. See if it works. That t-shirt company, the boutique you want to start, lose your money first.
Yeah.
Your second business partner we'll get into should be American Express, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America.
Well, when you go into that, people are like, okay, well, I want to be my first business partner. I want
Mhm.
to get into that, but I have no idea how to do funding. I have
Mm.
no idea how to bring this in. There's so many different ways. I thought, getting funding meant that I just stood on 95 in a tutu and people threw money at me. Didn't
Right,
work.
right.
Completely
Did
not
it
how
work?
funding worked. Didn't work.
Did it?
People will pay me money to put clothes back on at this point.
Mhm.
How do
Ah.
people how do people get in this? If they're going to go through funding, give me the broad overview and then we'll jump in the details. If someone needs funding, what's the best kind of ways to do that?
Broad overview at the easiest way to get to that path is, and that's why financial literacy is such a component in our company, is actually having good credit. So if you have good personal credit, the banks are going to say, all right, Bella Sloan, you're like 5 minutes old. We don't know who Bella Sloan is, but we know who Herman is. And Herman has good credit with us. He has a 700 credit score. He has a good credit profile. We trust him. And since he's going to personally guarantee or co sign for this business, we'll give the business this capital in the business's name, not in Herman's name. And that could be your first seed money to start whatever you need to start. And one of the blessings and benefit of it is the capital you get in your business name is much higher than you would in your business name. So I have a Best Buy credit card on the personal side, $10,000. My Best Buy business credit card is $30,000 because banks know that the business needs more capital.
So there's all these conversations about building credit, and there's jokes and memes about it all over the place that talk about that based on your culture, you will get
Mhm.
different credit scores. Is that actually true or is that just a meme?
That's just a meme that is attached to the knowledge that certain cultures get, but the information is universal, it's ubiquitous. If you do the right things, anybody can get good credit.
So, and your backstory about this is you actually have a lot of details in credit. So you talked about before you started your business, you were doing credit and you were helping
Right.
people expand their credit. Can you help the audience understand a little bit more about that?
Right. So the foundation of Bella Sloan Enterprise would be at first helping people educate them on their credit and helping them fix their credit. One of the ways we do that was through factual disputes. Per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, your credit report is supposed to be 100% accurate or 100% and 100% verifiable. If it is not, the credit agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they have to remove those negative items. So, like I told you, my name is Herman Dolce Jr. On my credit report, when I was uneducated, it said Herman Dolce Sr. or Herman Dole. Little edits, little things that were incorrect. It was a phone call before internet blew up, repair. Called them up, be like, hey, you need to fix this. This is me. I sent them a picture of my driver's license. We are good to go. Hey, I got this late payment on this credit card. Experience says I was late on Thursday, but Equifax says I was late on Friday. I send them both credit reports. Oh, that's incorrect. Fair Credit Reporting Act. You have to delete it. So I was doing little tactics like that to help people clean their credit because the law is in your favor.
So if someone goes, I think first step sounds like getting your actual report. And there's all these
Report.
services that you have that charge you to do that. And there's other
Mhm.
ways to do it. If you're going into this and you're listening to this going, hey, I've never even done it for my business, let alone myself. What are the
Right.
first steps that they go in through? Say, hey, I just need to get this credit report and find out what is real versus what isn't.
But it's on here.
Yeah.
There's two places you can go just to get it for free if you don't want to pay for it. You can go to Experian.com. They'll let you see your Experian credit report and just to check out what's on there. Then you can go to Credit Karma. I don't always recommend Credit Karma because your score's a little bit different, but the information is correct. They'll give you Equifax and TransUnion credit report, and then you can look on there to see the negative items you have that are on there that could be positive, negative, or incorrect, just for free.
Which is wonderful. It's people don't understand the power of credit either. For example, I don't buy cars. I never have. That's not true. I bought my first car and it was garbage. And I just the way I drive, I know you're not supposed to do it. But no, I lease cars. It is
Right,
what
right,
it
right.
is. I beat the
It is what it
bejesus out
is.
of them. I just have a heavy foot, so it's mean to cars. So I
Right.
go in and I always negotiate with them. And being able to walk in and say, "Okay, what's your credit score?" I've been doing this for a long time. My credit score is over 800. So I get to walk in. I'm like, "Before I'm going to negotiate with you, go to your finance manager, just pull up my credit." And they walk out and they're like, "What do you want?" And they don't even negotiate. It goes away.
Exactly.
That angst, that back and forth that we all. I think I would rather get colonoscopy than buy a car at this point because it's such a toxic thing. Um,
It
but having the yeah, now having that credit score, it changes the ballgame. So that's where it
changes it.
comes in your personal life. In my business life, to what you were saying, there is a difference between my company and my personal credit. Like I have a credit card that's got, whatever, 20, $30,000 limit on it. My business credit card is six figures because they
Yep.
know the business and they know me and what's going on. And I just don't touch it. And then they raise it every year. I'm like, stop doing that. But it is what it is if you have good credit. So
Right.
if someone gets your credit report and they're sitting at home and they go, okay, I'm trying to increase my financial literacy. What are the books? What are the tools? What are the things that they need to start doing to say, okay, I need to heal this before I go out and get funding? Because I really want to get people, and I'm going to try and do it on this podcast where we say, okay, this is how you get funding efficiently and effectively. And these are the tools that will actually not rip you off. So you don't want
Mhm.
to get it from the guy down the street who, only hangs out at the deli. That would be
Right, right,
bad.
right.
Get it a
Uh,
different way. What are some of the tools once they get their credit report so they can start educating themselves and helping themselves?
well, some of the tools we can talk about right now, I could just tell them. Number one, I call it credit optimization. So before you go and get funding, you want to look. as sexy as possible to the banks on your credit profile. So number one, you want to clean up the demographic information. There's only one name on my credit report, not a bunch of them. Number two, I know when we fill out applications, we're usually at different jobs. When we do that, I only have one job on my credit report. It's Bella Sloan Enterprises. All my old jobs, I called and had those deleted. Addresses, having too many addresses on your credit report, that's a red flag also. So I only have one address, that's my current address, because it looks like you're unstable. Those are little things that lenders look at. Now, when that's done, the next credit optimization is if you have credit cards, you want to pay down as much credit card debt as possible, preferably keeping it under 9%. That's the sweet spot banks like to see between 1% and 9%. Some people are like, well, why don't you pay it all the way down? You can, but banks like to see that they can make a little bit money off of you. But for your credit report, keep it between 1% and 9%. Because anything over 30%, that drops your credit score and it shows that you're a little bit unresponsible with income. The next thing is you want to remove as many inquiries off of your credit report. Inquiries are when you're applying for credit, they ding your credit. You want to check it. You have too many of those, it's going to look like you're thirsty for money and they don't want to give it to you. So you got to act like you don't really want it.
Right.
Banks don't
Very
like to
hard
see
to
any. Yeah. Banks don't like to see any more than 3 to 4 of those in the last 6 months. After it's 6 months old, then they really don't care about it. And lastly, collection charge-offs, bankruptcies, you want to make sure those are not on your credit report, obviously. And the one last thing I do want to say is your credit profile is important. What I mean by that, it's great to have a 700 credit score, 800 credit score, but you have an authorized user and a today's man credit card, and you have a 700 credit score. But me, I have a mortgage, I have student loans, I have a closed car note, and I have 4 credit cards that are over 5 years old, $10,000 limit. The bank will look at both of our 700 credit scores and be like, Herman clearly is more responsible with money. So having those profiles on your credit report makes you look extremely sexy when it's time to go and get some business funding.
You mentioned getting addresses off because I've had multiple addresses and I go on multiple properties. When you
Right.
go into this situation, you're like, "Hey, here is I want this address off." Even though
Mhm,
you did technically live there, can you just go
mhm.
to the credit reports and say, "Get it off. I don't wanna have this on here"? How does that work?
Absolutely, absolutely. We could go back to the Fair Credit Reporting Act because they say nothing is supposed to be put on your credit report without your permission. So one of those things are my address. So I can call and be like, "Hey, those addresses right there. Can you please remove it? This is my current address." And depending who'll pick up the phone, they'll do it there right on the phone at TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. Or sometimes they'll say, "Hey, can you send me your current driver's license or utility bill?" And you'll do that, and they'll delete it.
And I'm guessing same thing with jobs and so on and so forth. You get to
Same
choose.
thing with jobs. Yes, anything demographic is a phone call you can delete. When it comes to negative items like charge-offs, collections, those are a little bit harder to fight. Gotta send some letters, use the Fair Credit Reporting Act to help you fight it.
So if they're going through there and they're getting the ball rolling and they're starting to
Mhm.
fix their financial literacy, getting your
Yeah.
down to 9% is hard for a lot of people. So
Mhm.
getting that's where in my mind financial literacy comes in. The side hustles,
Yes.
doing all of those.
Yep.
As you've gone through your journey, you mentioned you've got student debt and you've got a couple other things, mortgage, which I don't know if people know this, but mortgage is French. It means to be in debt until you die. It's
Die.
mortgage.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
it is terrifying when you hear the actual name. It is.
Same.
"Ah."
Mhm.
So, as you're doing this, please buy assets, not liabilities, please.
Mhm.
But as you're
Please.
going through this, please, for the love of God, if it doesn't make you money as soon as you sign, you bought a liability. Just
A liability.
buy
Yes.
assets, please.
Mhm.
As you're going through this and you're trying to scale your financial literacy and you're trying to step this up, what are some of the ways that, okay, we've got our credit relatively fixed, we've made the phone calls. What are the proven ways that you found that work to getting your financial literacy up?
Number one, I want to talk to you about taxes for 2 seconds because you said something really interesting if you're in a lot of credit card debt. And everybody always looks at me crazy when I say this. I was like, well, we were taught that on our W-2s when we first get a job to like, I guess, take the maximum deduction. I was like, you know what you're doing when you do that, right? You're giving the government a tax-free loan or interest-free loan for 12 months. And then in January, February, everybody's on my timeline bawling going to Cabo because they got a tax refund check of 5, 6 grand. I was like, or you can make some adjustments, and this goes to your question about financial literacy, or you can make some adjustments on your W-2, your I-9, whatever. And that money you get every other week or every month, that two, three, four, $500 a month, that's what you're going to take and start to pay down your credit card debt. And including the side hustles that you may have. And when I teach people that, they get out of debt a lot faster. And I call it, here's how you get out of debt without getting a second job. And that always piques people's interest. So that's the last component in getting out of debt on the business, on the personal side, which will transfer to some great opportunities on the business side because now you actually understand taxes just a little bit better.
For those who also, if you're on the business side, because most of our listeners are business owners, when
Mhm.
everyone started freaking out when the politics came in, like, "Oh my god, he's never paid taxes, she doesn't pay taxes." All of us
Right.
who have been in that environment were like, "Mhm,
Yeah.
legal
He's,
way."
he's, he's
Like,
talking to me.
"Don't talk about that. I don't know what you're talking
About
about.
that.
Yes, I don't pay tax."
Right.
So you'll find out that, you've got the most famous line of this is you got Warren Buffett, who pays percentage-wise less than his secretary. So
Necessary.
if you're a W-2 versus a 1099 or whatever your business is, not only
Mhm.
does Herman's tactic talk about, hey, don't pay your taxes right now, defer it to the end of the year type of thing, because you could just use that as your own funding. But
Mhm.
also there are legal ways. I'm not going to get involved on a podcast with this one.
Talk to your tax professional.
Yeah, talking about, we
Right.
are not giving legal advice. We are not.
Right.
But you hear someone who is a politician and you have that politicianal change where they're like, hey, I I didn't pay more than 3% in taxes or 0% in taxes or six, and they're in single digit. Yes, hire someone very, very smart. Hire someone
Right.
who understands this. Pay the extra money. I pay my accountant very well, and he
Mhm.
has kept me very, very safe. But one of the things that's great about it is I'll ask him like, "Hey, can I do this?" He's like, "Of course you could do that." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "You'll go to jail, but yeah, you could do it." I'm like, that much. So make sure
Right.
you have someone who knows the law and won't just get in your face about it. So financial
Absolutely.
literacy is so critical, and taxes is just one thing because remember, you get paid, you get taxed. You then go buy something, you get taxed. You go to
Yes.
sell something, you get taxed. So we are just overwhelmed with it. And
Yes.
people are like, oh, well, Switzerland has worse taxes than we have here. I'm like, well, not really. So it just depends on where you are and how it goes. If someone's sitting down and they're learning these things, are there books? Are there resources? What are the things that you have involved that you've like, hey, this is what's proven. If you do this, do these steps. We've already gone through a couple that I'm sure people have already paused the podcast and like, I'll go deal with that in a second. I want to learn all this and start implementing it. They're making the
Right.
phone calls. What are some of the things that you've run into that you've like, you know what, this changed my financial career. This changed my financial intelligence in my life that I can now teach to my kids.
One of the most important things that I've learned is how to fund your business through stacking.
Mhm.
So what that means is, say for instance, I remember when I started doing it, people were like, "Well, how'd you get one person $150,000 in like 2 weeks?" And I have the book right here. I'm gonna go grab it for you in a second. And it talks about how I will go to like American Express
Mhm.
and I will get $20,000 from them, 25,000. I have good credit easily, right? They pull from Experian. Then I know that Navy Federal Credit Union, they pull from TransUnion, get another 25 from them. Then I go to Key Bank, they
Mhm.
pull from Equifax, that's another 25,000. So I just raised $75,000 in funding, 0% interest, technically one inquiry because the TransUnion Bank can't see that I got an inquiry from American Express and vice versa. And I just maxed out as much funding as I can get. Because if I went to American Express and then I went to PNC, which pulls from Experian, they're like, oh, you just got a ding. Like you just got it today. You're clearly shopping. So instead of giving you a $25,000 credit card, we're going to give you a $15,000 one. So this is how I maximize how much capital that I got. And because I understood that information, I'm able to double, triple the funding that I can get from my business. Use credit responsibly, by the way.
I was about to say that people are like, "Oh my god, I can get $75,000 at 0%. This is amazing."
Amazing.
You already need to be in a situation where you have financial literacy, where there's already cash flow. I don't want you going out. That's not what Herman and I are talking about. We're not like, "Hey, go get 6 figures of debt and then file
Yeah,
bankruptcy." That's not
right.
what we're saying. What we're
No,
saying is funding when you're trying to feed your business is the lifeblood in the very beginning. It's gonna be
exactly.
your sweat, your blood, and someone else's money sometimes. It's called OPM.
Sometimes.
So
Mhm.
going through this idea of doing this effectively and stacking is something I've never heard of. So you mentioned you're going to go grab a book. Go grab that real quick, and we'll come
Oh,
back.
yeah, yeah.
So it's one of those things that again, finding these resources. None of this stuff we invented. In all these situations, we are not source for any of this knowledge. We are
Mm.
synthesis. In other words, we have digested this, we have found it, and we are working with it. And this is why it's so important to go with people who are proven to actually do these type of things. So for those of you, what is it? What is the book? Share it with us.
So I got a couple books. The first one is called The Credit Mastery.
Hmm.
There you go, Credit Mastery.
Uh,
It's by Ian Richards. It's a great book on how to fix your credit. The second book is by Ian also. It's Developing Age Corporations.
Mhm.
Send you a picture of it. And that shows you how to build your business credit. And the last one, I have no affiliations, no affiliates with these guys, but they really help my business. And the other one is 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan. That book, it showed me how to think bigger with my business in regards to, I set a goal for my business. Hey, I want to have 5,000 subscribers. That was the goal.
Right.
And he was like, well, why don't you make it 50? And I didn't have a reason why I couldn't make it
Yeah.
50. So he's like, make it 50. And I was like, okay. So what happened automatically is my brain started planning and game planning for 50,000 instead of 5,000. And what happened? I tripped into 15,000
Right.
because my operations, my business, my CEO, I was like, all right, let's shoot for 50,000. So
Mm.
that's why it's easier just to change the number verbally, and that'll grow your business.
Well, your brain thinks differently, right? It gives you different answers based on what's going on. If you sit there and say, I'm hungry versus I'm starving, your body will automatically go into, oh, okay, well, I was going to just get a snack versus, oh my
Yeah,
God, I'm going to go eat a chunk of cow, whatever it is.
correct,
You just kind
correct.
of go through.
Yeah,
For my vegan friends, you would eat lots of beans. I don't know. I don't. Sorry, my sister Sarah. I apologize.
right, right, right.
I don't know what the equivalent is. You guys can send me messages and tell me what the equivalent is. We'll talk
Absolutely.
about it in detail. So when they go through there, and
Mhm,
when does a person know, like, okay, I'm starting to learn my financial literacy. I've read the books. I've worked with Herman. What are we going through where we're like, all right, now I need funding. How do I know as a business owner when's the right time to go get funding, to go through different rounds? Because there's different funding where you're doing it on your own and then
mhm,
doing rounds of funding. Because there's an entire practice, there's an entire pitch deck. There's something called a
right.
Sequoia pitch deck when it goes into pitching for funding when you're going in your first round of funding.
Mhm.
How does someone know as a business owner, okay, now I need funding?
I can liken it to, I'll give you an example. When I first started my credit repair company and I was typing the letters and I was doing all that work, right? And then I realized I was capping at like $25,000 a month in revenue because my time was attached to the work I can do, right? So at that point, I was like, oh, I need to hire more people. So if I hire more people and I invest that 25 back into the business and I hire three people, I'm able to make $100,000 a month instead. So I try to keep that little 25 because I still had a 9 to 5 mentality. The same thing is when it comes to funding. When you feel that you can grow if you invest X amount into your business, because you've capped, that's when it's time to raise a little capital. But you have to know your numbers. So I knew my numbers before I went and got a $25,000 business credit card, and I liquidated that credit card and I used it to hire my first staff member. Like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 a month if you help me with these letters and I'll train you.
Right.
And then within 60 days, it wasn't even 90 days, 60 days, we doubled our income. And in 120 days, we 5X'd it. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'll just do it again.
Right.
Right. Because I figured it out, got the systems in place. We got to stabilize because I didn't want to fly a plane and build it at the same time. I wanted to ensure I grew slowly. And then I put gasoline on that fire.
I love that you just subtly snuck in my favorite word, which is systems. Your
Uh-huh.
systems need to be bulletproof. Systems
Yeah.
are what's mission critical for scaling. If you do not have systems in place and you just throw money at the wall, it's not going to
Yeah.
stick. It's
It's
not
not
how
going to
they
stick.
work. And there's a lot
Right.
of ways to generate capital without ever selling product. I love that you focused on, I'm using this money to pay for personnel versus for product. And, people run into this all the time. They're like, okay, I need more money to buy product. You don't ever need more money to buy product because you can sit there and you can go online and say, listen, you want to pre-order this? We have this. We're going to offer it. Would you like to pre-order this? We're opening this special session. You hit your network and you pre-order, and that will fund you fast. So if you're in a situation where you're trying to purchase, Herman grabs
Oh, I got
another
another
book.
book. I got another
Again, none
book.
of I'm not source for any of this. We're just synthesis.
Right, right, right.
We'll go in and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to plug it, but I own a company. We sell lots of merch, a ton of
Mhm.
merch. I never touch it. I never see it. It's all automated. God bless the internet. But we'll go through and we'll use the Supreme model, which is, it's only going to be available for a short time. You have to pre-order it if you're going to get it. Opening opens up for a very short amount of time. So you have scarcity there. Like it's only going to be available for only about 2 hours. If you want it, go. And I'll
Mhm.
open it up. And because it's connected to this thing, we'll get 2,000 orders like that. And then I'll
Like
go to
that.
my supplier and I'm like, well, I need 2,000 of these now. And he's like, okie
Right,
dokie.
right.
And then he'll pay because it's already been paid for. I just
Mhm.
immediately pay and I'm gone. So it's cost me nothing. And that's why it's so important to fortify your social media, why it's so important to fortify and have these systems in place. Get money that's going to pay for personnel, not for product. It's a different
Right.
ballgame. You have to have a buyer before you purchase the product. People don't
Purchase
understand
the
this.
product.
Very, very
It's
frustrating to me. All right,
it's
you grabbed another
ingenious.
book. What was it?
I grabbed another book by Daniel Priestley. It's called the Scorecard Marketing.
Mhm.
and it talks about wait lists. And I didn't understand the whole wait list model. And
Mhm.
then he gave the best example. The best example that everyone has seen recently is Tesla.
Yep.
So what, 3, 4 years ago, Elon Musk, what we had to put down $100 for a Cybertruck, and then he raised over $100 million. He went to the banks, be like, "Hey, I got $100 million. Can you give me more?" And then
Yes.
he went and built a bunch of Cybertrucks that didn't have to be delivered for years. So
Or work at all, or be functional, or be good
or for
products in any way, shape, or form,
exactly, or be a good product,
or be
exactly,
attractive in any way at all.
and at all. So I wait list everything. Hey, I got a new product coming out, and I see what's going on with the wait list. I was like, oh, the people want this product. Let's create it.
Yes.
Let's give it to them.
And that
Yeah,
that little insight's important. There's so many people who go to the ocean and say, "No, you're not allowed to come in now," or tell the river, "Go upstream or down." It's like, "No, the market's gonna tell you what to do,
what to
then to
do.
go do it." You are not smarter than the market unless no, you're not smarter than the market, period. I was trying to think of an example. I was like, "Is anybody smarter than the market?" I was thinking Steve Jobs. I was like, "No, he didn't like the iPad mini, and it was the number 1 seller the year after he died." And I was like, "Well, I can't think of anybody
That's
who's ever been smarter than the market."
The market will tell you
Yeah,
what it wants. Pay attention to it. So if my wait list was 100 people, I'm not creating the product.
correct.
If the wait list was 1,500, 2,000, I was like, all right, guys, we got work to do. Let's get the smart people in the room because I came up with the idea already. Y'all figure it out.
This is the joys of being a business owner. So,
Right.
and I tell people all the time, I'm like, stop being a CEO, become a strategist. Like, I'm just going to
Right.
advise you guys, go do it. And that's where systems come into place, which is a completely different
Exactly.
conversation. So let's say someone to the point, like, I get it. I've heard what you guys have said. I understand waitlist now. I've read all the books that Herman have shown me, which those are some that I haven't read. So they're definitely going to be on my list. God bless
Right.
Everand. I'm not sponsored by Everand. God bless them. And you get free
Right.
audiobooks, or you pay like whatever it is, 20 bucks a month, and you get it. That's guess what I'm gonna be doing on my walks every day. Listen to that before I
Right.
do when I'm working out. If someone's to the point that, okay, I get it. I need to get funding. This is mission critical now. I have to do this. I need to get personnel. I can't afford them. I haven't done the waitlist thing yet. I'm in this pocket of, you know what? I need 25K. I need 100K, whatever it is. And they need to get effective funding. Walk me through that process. When they work with you, what are some of the things that people mess up when they first come in? And then what are the things that are proven to actually help people out?
So we got the creditors together, their profile is together, their business has to be structured properly. S corp, C corp, whatever you got. These are the little dings that banks look at because I want you to think like a bank does. So when I come in, I have a real business address. It's not my home address, right? So I have a office, and even if you can't afford an office space, you can actually rent addresses where your mail gets sent to virtual address or a registered agent because now you look like a real business. Does Bank of America want to do business or give somebody 25 grand who offices in their home, right? And another thing, people who have their home addresses as their business address, that's actually not safe because your business is public information. I can go to the Secretary of State website, look up Bella Sloan Enterprises, and it's my home address. Everybody knows where I live. So little things like that. Having a real business email, info at Bella Sloan Enterprises, not Bella Sloan Enterprises at Gmail. You want to look legitimate and you want to look absolutely credible. Those are the two little things I just wanted to tell people, and also have a real business website because the banks they actually look you up while you're sitting there. Like, oh, okay, let me check out your website, see if you're legitimate. So if that looks good and it's perfect, the application process is pretty simple. They know that you're a startup. They know that you've done only 30,000 next year. Sometimes they'll ask you, hey, if we give you this 25 grand, what does revenue look like? I project I'm gonna make 125,000 next year with this $25,000 influx into my business. Okay, great. And sometimes they give you 10% of what the business has made or what the business will make up to a certain point. So if you say you're gonna make up to 125 grand, that business credit card will probably be $12,500. Or they'll see what credit cards you already have on your personal side. They're like, all right, well, he has a $25,000 personal credit card. He's done well with it. We'll bump that $12,000 card to a $30,000 card. That's how they think. Another thing with the application is what you put on it as what you do is important too. So, yes, I have a job, but what is your title that you're putting on your business? I always tell people put that you're the president, you're the CEO, or the CIO. Don't put owner. And they're like, well, why not? I am the owner. I was like, because owners don't make any money. So me as a president or a founder, I have a salary that I get because they're thinking, well, how are you going to pay this credit card if you're the owner? Because the owner is always what? The last to get paid.
Correct.
And so you get the change that's left over. So those little things when filling out the application, actually you can leverage to actually get more capital for your business.
And I don't think people understand that banks actually wanna lend you money because they make
They do.
a ton of money. Like, when you buy a
A lot of
house,
money.
so
Mhm.
when you buy a house and you're like, "Oh, well, I'm just paying off my mortgage." No. You wanna think of a box, and then it's cut in half from one corner, the bottom left to the top right, and you're just mostly paying interest the entire time. They're making it
Um,
your actual balances is going down. That's not any different than business loans. They're gonna make a ton of money because they have these things where like, "Oh, sign up now, get $500 when you sign up bonus when you have a credit card." They're
yeah.
hoping that you're like the majority of the people out there, that they're gonna make that 100x over the lifetime between fees and late fees and problems and so on and so forth. If
Yep.
you've got effective financial literacy, you're not gonna be that guy. That you're not gonna be in that situation and you're gonna get away from that. So if they're coming in and you gotta put down that they're the founder or the owner or the president, you gotta have a
Mhm.
real business address. What happens if someone's like, I don't have a website, I don't have this. Do you walk people through that or what is the ball game?
Absolutely. We can walk you through that. We don't do it. Here's why we don't do it because it's so simple to do. You can go to fiverr.com,
Hmm?
pay somebody $100. I promise you, they'll have your business email, your business website set up within 3 days. Or you can go and do it yourself and get it done in like 2 hours. Go to GoDaddy.com or
Yep.
Wix.com. It's very simple. There's nothing that we're discussing on this podcast today that cannot be done in the next 24 hours in regards to your business setup.
We used to run summits and we would do this and we would force people to do it live. We're like, okay, here we go. Go do this, go do this, go do this. And within 2 hours, it's operational because it's
It's
not that
operational.
complicated. It's
Not
so
that
easy to
complicated.
do because if you show up with Gmail or Live or Hotmail, whatever is your address, it's
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with those email addresses, except you don't own any of those emails. Remember, if you're not paying for something, you're the product. So it is what it is. Please remember that. But it tells the person who's investing, it tells the lender, it tells as an angel investor, when you come to me, if that's your email address, it tells me volumes about your business acumen.
Volumes. Yeah.
I know more about you than you could possibly know. If you show up and you've got an AOL address, it's like a puff of smoke where I was sitting because I will run as fast as I can. It tells
Mhm.
me so much about you. It's just like when you go to apply for something, if you show up wearing a pair of raggedy shoes and flip-flops versus a
Mhm.
three-piece suit, I'm going to
Right.
know. Also the way you articulate, what vernacular are you using? I use very different vernacular when I'm on a podcast or if I'm, in the versus when I'm with my friends. Because when I'm with
Friends,
my friends,
basically.
I sound like an idiot. There's just no way around it. We're goofy and we're making words up and we are
Right, right, right.
cursing more than my mother would ever approve, but we
Mhm.
are being idiots. There is a time and a place that's also your digital footprint, and people regrettably don't understand that. What are some of the
Right,
other
right.
mistakes that people make and that just common stuff when they come to you and they want to come and they want to help you out? What are some of the things that you help people out and go, okay, first off, don't do this anymore. Dear God, please don't do this.
Right, right, right. Being in a high risk industry and lying on the business application. All right.
Oh,
So number one, yeah, that happens.
oh my
So
God.
no, there's
Right?
people out there, believe it or not. A high risk industry, banks don't like to give money to like high risk industries such as real estate. So I know HGTV made it look all sexy and good, but banks hate giving that money to that NAICS code. So every industry has a code that is attached to it. Business consulting, technology, um, medical, they all have a code. So when going to the bank and and they're nice and they're wonderful. Oh, Herman, it's a pleasure to meet you. What do you do? What's the business? And you tell them, hey, Bella Sloan Academy, Bella Sloan Enterprises, we do real estate. They're like, oh, that's wonderful. And they attach a code to your business at that bank. Now, when it's time for you to go get funding, instead of you getting a $25,000 card, you're probably going to get a $7,000 card because in their eyes, real estate is high risk. Trucking is high risk. Carmen, what are the other high risk industry? Adult vices are high risk. Daycare, anything with transportation, you can Google this information, high risk industries. So those type of industries they don't like to give funding to. That's why I have a journal name, Bella Sloan Enterprises, not Bella Sloan Credit Repair or Bella Sloan Trucking. And the other thing is lying on business applications. Like you said, banks want to give you money. Start slow. You're trying to get a $150,000 credit card or a loan from a bank, and if you have to lie to get it, then you're probably not ready to get the money. So be honest with the bank. Listen, I made 30,000 last year. I'm projected to make a buck 50 this year. What can you give me based on my credit and my business being structured properly? Herman, honestly, we can give you 30,000. Great. I'm going to turn this 30,000. And here's what the great thing. Once you spend that 30,000 and you pay it down or you pay it down half within 90 days or 6 months, guess what the bank is going to do? They're going to reach out to you. Like, hey, you're doing really good with this credit card. Yeah, would you like a credit card increase? Would you like another business credit card? Absolutely. I would love to do that because you got to prove yourself to the bank and they'll take care of you.
I love that you said they'll reach out to you in a nice way. No, they will hound you and they will
Pound you
call you
will.
15 times a day. Like,
Oh,
do you like more
bro.
money, sir? It
Yeah.
actually becomes the different problem. When you actually have financial literacy and you're running into this, they'll bang on
Mhm.
your door. They will
You're
get
back.
annoyed. That's why it's important to have, don't use your regular phone. Try and have another phone specifically for this. We all have hidden
Absolutely.
phones. We all have hidden WhatsApp. We all have hidden Google Voice. We all have extra SIM cards in our lives. Let's be
Right,
honest.
right, right.
Because of
Let's be
the
honest.
no, no, because I will just get hounded. Whenever I go and I do apply for something or whatever it is, I will go in and I'll have a separate email address and a separate phone number that just gets hounded. And I'm like,
Mm.
whatever. It's connected to a phone that sits in a closet in the office. I'm like, have fun.
Right, right, right.
It's on airport mode or it's on do not disturb. And I just like, whatever. I don't check it. I never interact with it. Sorry for those of you who have Googled me and tried to get a hold of me. That's why you can't get a hold of me. Surprise.
That's why.
Yeah,
It's for my protection.
yeah, it's just y'all are, and it goes back to what you said earlier, which is don't put your home address on the thing. No one knows my home address. There's no way to Google where my home address is because I
It is.
technically don't own my home. My
Mhm.
home is owned by a trust, which I am not connected to in any way, shape, or form publicly.
Right,
Privately,
right.
it's my trust, but no
I
one knows
trust.
where I live, and that's done on purpose. Because
Yeah.
I love you guys. You guys are very sweet, but y'all are creepy, and you freak me out. Don't show up at my house. It makes me pee on myself a little bit. Don't be
Right.
doing that.
Makes
It's weird. Y'all are.
me nervous. I have to protect myself.
This is what it
Absolutely.
is, and
It is
I like
what
carrying guns, and I will return fire.
it
Understand?
is.
It is what it is. So when someone comes in, there's a lot of people when we talk about getting a loan, fixing their credit, they're terrified because they
Mhm.
weren't taught this. I mean, financial literacy isn't something I was taught by my family in any way, shape, or form. I was taught save, 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 save. Don't buy stuff you don't need. That's the
Mhm.
extent of it. It wasn't until I read, I know it's very classic and everybody's read it 1,000 times. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That poor dad.
I
Mhm.
read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then my favorite book by him is not Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's Cash Flow Quadrant.
Mhm.
Cash Flow Quadrant changed my life. And then I was 20 years old, 21 maybe. I bought a book called Cash Flow, and a game called Cash Flow that he has done. If you haven't bought this game, which it was $350 or $299 when I bought it, which at the time was more money than I could possibly imagine because I grew up
Mhm.
poor. I couldn't afford the last three letters of poor. I was broke. And I
Ah.
spent this money, and it's like Monopoly on crack. And I
Mhm.
laid it out, and I played with my buddy Keith, and he kicked my butt the first time. And then I sat there on the table, and there's four people can play at the same time. I think you can play more, but normally four. And I would run around and I'd sit there and play every night all by myself, just
Mhm.
constantly playing this game over and over and over. And I have played this game with every one of my clients that I've coached. Every one of my clients that I've gets like $75 now because bastards made me spend money before. I
Mhm.
played it with people who are billionaires and who go bankrupt instantaneously in the game. It is one of those games that fundamentally change it and allowed me to get past the fear of, hey, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that. Because if I lose, it's just paper money and it's little plastic rats on a board. So when
Mhm.
people come to you and they're terrified, because there's a lot of people who are terrified of approaching this, they're like, you know what, I can't be a business owner, I can't do a side hustle because I'm afraid. I just want to be an employee and get a W-2, which is horrible. Good
Mhm.
God, the amount of
You're gonna be
damage and
honest
just
about it.
believing oh my God, it's horrible. When someone's at that point and they're have paralysis because of fear,
Mhm.
how do you handle that? How do you hold people's hands through that?
I give them a different fear. So, everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur, but everybody does need to be an investor. You need to be investing in something that you're in control of. A friend of mine gave me this wonderful example. He was like, "There are financial prey and there are financial predators, right? And it's in the interest of the financial prey to keep you financially illiterate. And when you're financially illiterate, they make more money, right? So, for banks, say for instance, they make billions, like tens of billions. I want to say $50 billion just on late fees and interest. Not even late fees. It's like bounce checks or whatever, non-sufficient funds. Billions. Why wouldn't they just send you a text message? Hey, your bank account is low. Or in school, why did they teach you how to balance a checkbook? I literally went, but it was a private school. We actually had a class where they showed us how to write checks and balance a checkbook. And my dad sat me down. He's like, "Hey, son, I want you to pay the bills every Friday." And he's like, "This is what I made. This is what we're spending." I think he did that so I wouldn't ask him for the Nintendo because he would see how much money was left.
Right.
But it was financial literacy for me. So when I grew up, I had those habits. Not having those habits would cost me money. I wouldn't learn how to save. I wouldn't learn how to invest. So the different fear that I give people, okay, you want to do the W-2. I'm old enough to see a couple of crashes happen where people's 401k have been wiped away. Right. So I'm like, do you want that option or do you want to have just a little bit more control? Because you gave somebody two, three, $400 a week for 30 years.
Mhm.
They made millions off of that.
Yes.
And they gave you, when you retire, you'll probably have $500,000, $1 million, and you think you did a thing,
Mhm.
but the opportunity cost of your financial literacy is probably $10 million that you lost because you
Absolutely.
didn't have that information. So when I pivot, when I give them new information, they're like, oh, I was like, listen, I'm not going to promise you getting you $10 million, but hey, let me help you get 2 or 3 rental income, right? Properties. So when you retire, in addition to the 401k, Social Security, you're getting $3,000, $4,000 in rent check, and the asset is worth X amount. Put in a trust that you can pass down to your children, leverage by life insurance. We'll go down the rabbit hole.
Mhm.
I just make them think differently about that $1,000 they're giving away to somebody else.
So let's go down that rabbit hole. So if someone
Okay.
comes to you and they're like, and I love that you said, I wanted a Nintendo because that makes you in my age group. But
Right, right,
it was different though. Did you actually get the
right.
Nintendo or no?
I got the Nintendo. I got
All
the
right. So
Nintendo for
you're getting
Christmas. Yes.
Nintendo was different than me getting the Nintendo. Because remember, my last name is Schwartz. We have 8 days. So day one, I got the Nintendo. Day two, I got the controller. Day three, I got the other controller. You know what I got my
Stop,
last day? The power
Charles.
adapter
Stop.
to turn the damn thing on. I was so
Stop,
mad.
Charles.
I was
That's
so
not
thankful
true.
with that. My dad thought it was hilarious. Very
Oh,
similar to
man.
you, I had my mom sit down and show me this is what a checkbook is because we're both that old. But you got to
Yeah.
sit down and go through this and learn these things out. But let's start going down these rabbit holes. Let's talk about more of these advanced things that you do and that you share about life insurance and how to do this and all that. Walk me through the stuff that when you share it with people, their minds just go and their
I'll,
heads explode.
I'll give you a great example of this. I did a Zoom call with Temple University students during the pandemic. Temple called me. That's my alma mater. So I was very honored. They said, hey, can you talk to our freshmen about some financial literacy topics? I was like, great. So I got on the call, maybe 20 people on there. And I was like, hey, who wants to be worth $250,000 by the time they graduate college? So you're telling a bunch of 18-year-olds that, and they're like, "What are you talking about? That's not even possible. I'm just trying to get this teaching degree so I can make $50,000 in the school district of
God.
Philadelphia." Right? Right. Painful. So so I was like, all right. So we talked about the credit thing, walk them through the whole credit thing, open up a bank account, getting your first personal credit card, walk them through all that. In 2 years, when that credit card is 2 years old, it'll probably have a five to $10,000 limit on here. And I want everybody to start their LLC. So I'm talking to freshmen right now. So now it's sophomore year, junior year, excuse me. Your credit card is 2 years old. The limit is $10,000. You have a business that's 2 years old. Whether you were using it or not, I'm just glad you got that paper. Now, you're able to go get business credit or business line of credit, and you're able to put a down payment on an investment property, right? Because you're over 18, you're able to sign for it, talk to a good realtor. And now we're going to house hack. You can get up to a 4 unit property, right? Through a program called NACA. So I talk about this NACA program where they're able to get in it with low money down or zero money down for first time home buyers. So now you're in this property. The 3 other units are paying the rent for you, right? And you're living for free. In another 2 years, you're able to take out the equity because there will be a little equity, a little $5,000, $10,000, and purchase another, do another down payment on another property. So by the time you're a senior or you're a graduate student, you'll have 8 doors paying you X amount of money. And at minimum, in the Philadelphia market at the time, those assets should be worth over $250,000, and you're cash flowing at least 25 to $3,000. So after I gave him, it was a longer PowerPoint. I was like, after I do that, what do you think will happen to you by the time you graduate? Everyone was like, I probably won't work. Right. And I was glad in that moment I brainwashed them. I was like, really, why wouldn't you work? Well, they was like, well, if I can leverage credit to make 3,000 or 5,000, then I'll just do that over and over. I was like, all right, class dismissed. I did my
100%.
job. Sorry, Temple University, that everyone's gonna drop out in about two
Absolutely.
semesters. But I just showed them the difference. And I was like, hey, you can still have a job, but having this side hustle cash flow coming in and building asset equity. And then I tell them to put in a trust to protect the assets because everybody wants to sue you. And hey,
Everyone.
you got an extra $5,000, $10,000. Start putting that into a life insurance policy that'll grow some safe dividends every. So now their mind is just thinking differently about money.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, the jobs that you guys are going to have, you can leverage that to 10x this even more, and you'll probably retire in 5 years.
So I love that you just kind of, again, for people who have done it a million times, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. So
No big deal.
to make it easy to remember, it's Monopoly. Four greenhouses, one red hotel. Really, really simple. But you came on and you said you didn't say go buy your dream house. You're like, no, go buy a fourplex. That
Hmm.
three of them are going to pay for the one, And you go through that
Yeah.
and then rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. It doesn't have to be sexy. It doesn't have to be fun. Now, you're still going to have the headaches of being a property owner. There's always going to be that. That's just the nature of the beast. It is
Mhm.
what it is. You're going to have people who ruin stuff. You're going to have those things. There are those hurdles, and there's ways to prevent that. There's ways to really fortify it. One of the ways that, when I was purchasing real estate in the very beginning, I refused to rent to renters. It was always
Mhm.
rent to own. I'm like, listen, if you want to come in, it's a rent to own model. Therefore, all of my problems with as far as any anybody coming in and messing with my properties and breaking anything, they're going to take better care of it. Now, most of them have been there for 13 years, 14 years.
Wow.
They still don't wanna buy the property. They're still gonna say, "I'm gonna buy it one day," but they're wage slaves, they're employees, so they're
Right,
never
right.
gonna get there. I'm like, "Alright, we're gonna get to a point sooner or later," and I'm like, "Guys, we're way outside our realm of when you could have bought it," but they still have this idea that this is their home, and before
Mhm.
the collapse happened, I was lucky enough to be connected to in COVID before the collapse, I was lucky to be connected, people are like, "Listen, take all of your commercial property, chuck it." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" That's most of my portfolio. They're like, you have to chuck it now." And I was very lucky. I chucked all my commercial property. I got out, took all that road, put it into industrial stuff, survived the hit, and now I got to go back in and buy certain industrial stuff because I own a bunch of office complexes. And they're like,
Right.
you're gonna get eat. Oh, it wasn't me. Again, this is something that people don't understand. Herman and I, but I'm sure if I'm curious if you it is not ever what you know. It's who you know.
Who you know.
Your network is your net worth. I knew this individual for a very long time. I'm not going to plug his name. He's a gift. You already have read about him. He helped somebody who we may have talked about earlier who created a really cool board game and multiple books get his real estate. Well, he called me up. He's like, listen, I've never told you to do anything. You and I have been friends. We've been connected. You've got to purge all of this now. And I was like, I'm sorry. What? And he kept blowing up my phone. I was like, dude, what's wrong? And he said, you got to get out. He goes, "You're gonna get eaten alive." And I was like, "Dude, you're asking me to wipe out 60% of my wealth." He's like, just you have to please, for the love of God."
Trust me.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat your ass. It just doesn't work." I go, "We're gonna this is taking years to get all of these." And
Right.
I listed everything and wiped it out. We got very lucky. One of the things that Herman went through was he didn't say, "Go buy your primary residence." That you should never do
Never,
that. You're like, "Hey, I
never.
want this primary residence that's $3,000,000. It's $1,000,000. It's $300,000. Awesome. What is the mortgage payment? Cool. It's $3,000 a month. Awesome.
Mhm.
How can I buy something that's gonna pay for that?" That's what we
Yeah.
talk about with buying an asset, and you can't do that without having a certain level of financial intelligence. So,
Mhm.
there's a lot of advanced things we're talking about. We didn't even get into the life insurance stuff. There's so much here where people can just pick your brain because 'cause you've done it
Mhm.
and you share so openly and so lovingly. If someone wants to find out more and they wanna connect you more and they wanna do this, how do people
Right.
find you? How do they get a hold of you? How do they like, "Okay, we get it. There's actual help out there." How do they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram, Haitian_CEO, where I have these conversations every single morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm dropping a video on some type of knowledge base so that they can do this. A lot of people hit me up, hey, I want to learn more. I want to sit down with you. I have an academy. It's called Bella Sloan Academy, $50 a month. Sign up. We meet every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. where we would like to be of service. And you can find me on my YouTube channel, Bella Sloan Enterprises. We have long form content where we teach for an hour for free. I tell everybody, hey, I only charge for my time. The information, I'm going to give it away to you for free. Just tap into any one of my platforms. I'd love to be of service.
So I if someone comes in because you've got Haitian CEO and you've got Bella Sloan, if someone is not either fall into that, if someone isn't Haitian, if someone is from a different culture, are they completely welcome as well?
Yes, they're absolutely welcome. That's just my moniker. That's my title. That's just for me.
Perfect.
But black, white, purple, or green, rich or poor, we like to serve everybody. We have something for everyone.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming and sharing these little tidbits and being part of this. I really appreciate your time.
Charles, it's an absolute honor. Great conversation today. Thank you.
Herman didn't theorize about credit. He mastered it, then systematically generated $150,000 in funding using proven stacking methods. Financial literacy isn't optional anymore. Take action, check your credit report, optimize your profile, and start building real wealth.